Nice to have you with me here on The Doctor Is In.
You have always been a voice of reason through all of this.
Appreciate your time, what you're doing for America.
I give you advice, and it doesn't work at all.
You are definitely not inept by any means.
I like to hear women say that about me.
Whatever advice you're going to send my way, I am 100% taking it.
I can't tell you what to do. I will not tell you what to do.
Okay. Well, thanks.
That wasn't the answer I wanted.
Are you kidding me?
Great stuff, Dr. Ray. I'm glad I called.
I've scheduled my day around listening to your radio show.
You don't have to laugh so hard.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
I get this question a lot. Dr. Ray, can you give me an example of balance in your life? Yes, I did this just the other night, as a matter of fact. The balance between the volume on the TV and the sound of the crunch of the potato chips that you're eating. I think that's balance. It's day to day. Nice to have you with me here on The Doctor Is In. This is E-Person Monday, not email. Again, trying to be gender sensitive, linguistically sensitive. E-Person. Soon it will be E-People, because somebody's going to complain about the second syllable in person being son of the son per son. They won't like that. Somebody somewhere is going to complain. Language police, you're not allowed to say anything. Ever-changing, shifting language. People get upset because you don't use the right language. Boy, people used to get upset with big things. Now you're not talking the way I want you to talk. So this has been my nod to the language police. E-Person Monday. Dr. Ray. It's spelled M-A-I-L. I'm aware of that. However, just the sound of it could be problematic for some sensitive ears. It's when I tackle. Yes, I'm using that football analogy. Tackle emails, slips, old habit, that you sent me from Living Right with Dr. Ray, the TV show, or the radio show. And I can tell they're from the TV show when I say, can you call the radio program? And they say, what radio program? So I refer them on to Teresa Tomeo. Call Teresa. Get her opinion. We'll get to your e-persons here in a second. But as typical is my opening monologue. Okay. This was many years ago, there was a call-in show, one of the local big talk stations. This was before I had my own program. They were saying, why would people who live together before marriage have a higher divorce rate if they get married than people who don't live together? They couldn't understand that. The host of the program kept saying, "You should no. That'll help you get to know the person. That would make the marriage much more likely to be successful. It shouldn't be a problem." And he was truly perplexed. I called in, and I said one explanation could be that people who don't live together as a group are more religiously oriented. They view marriage a little more, if you will, a commitment, a holy commitment. And so therefore, when they get married, given that they view marriage as a lifelong bond, a commitment, they would be less likely to break it. People who live together might not have the same view, the same depth in their understanding of marriage. The response was, me being a psychologist, I read between the lines. Yeah, thanks. It has long since been known that if you live together before marriage, you raise the odds that marriage is not going to succeed. It's long since been known that. Well, this just came out. Where was this from? This Fox News, their stream. It says here, the headline, "Chastity before marriage? Question mark. No cohabitation? Question mark. Data says couples who skip both may have stronger unions. Yeah, it's not just chastity before marriage, and it's not just no cohabitation. It's what it reflects. It reflects a higher view of the marital commitment. So I'm going to go into the article now. When Father Matt DeGance tells engaged couples they should refrain from having sex during the 6-month waiting period before their wedding, even for those living together. And by the way, most priests will tell you that the couples coming in for marriage, the majority are living together already. They'll tell you that. He says there's a palpable tension in the silence. Quote, he's saying this now. The majority of the reactions are kind of a quiet pensiveness, he says. There are couples that kind of laugh it off or just sort of find it very dismissive, or they're dismissive in their approach. The article goes on. Even the Catholic Church. I thought it was fascinating. Even the Catholic Church. What's that say? It's kind of like, oh, well, even somebody as throwback as the Catholic Church knows it's countercultural in this day and age to believe couples should not have relations before they say their I do's. You know that? Even the Catholic Church knows that. Public health stats show that maybe 5 to 10% of those getting married in the U.S. are virgins at marriage. I saw 3%, so that's kind of higher than I thought. A priest at St. Helen's Church in Vero Beach, Florida, Father Matt DeGance, told Fox News the church will perform about 40 to 50 weddings this year. That's a lot for a parish now, because Catholic weddings are way down. They're half of what they were not so long ago. He says it's a huge uptick from previous years. That's right, it is. Probably, he says, due to the reported religious revival happening in the Catholic Church. This is true. We've talked about this in this program. A lot of the Catholic media has talked about this. It is most pronounced in those called Gen Z, the ones under 30, under 28, the younger ones under 24. There's this. I saw a statistic that said 40% say religion is very important in their lives. That is the highest percentage of church attendees of any age group. Yeah, even of the older folks. He says we're seeing record numbers of people entering the church. We are also seeing numerous marriage. Now here's the confirmation of what I said in the beginning of this monologue. 70% of engaged couples seeking premarital counseling are living together. 70%. Now, Father Matt says that might seem like a huge number, but it's down. Well, that's encouraging from just 5 years ago. Then, he said, 5 years ago, I only had one couple who was not living together, and they were young. He says, and I wanted to make them almost like a rare animal zoo exhibit. Like, look at them, don't touch them because they might bite you or something. But now, he says, we're getting more and more. His church is doing some work with a nonprofit organization that his brother, J.P. DeGance, founded called Communio. Okay, let me go on here. Listen, ministry. Communio's research shows that a huge percentage of people who now attend church regularly are from two-parent households. All right, let me extrapolate from that. Let me connect a couple of dots here. Many of you listening in my vast 162-person listening audience will say, my children have left the faith. One of the hopes I offer you is that you lay down a base. You expose them to a cultural alternative. faith, religion, a moral system. Now, if they drift from that or they reject it, and they find out that the way they're living or the way the culture says to live is not working too well, they have something to step back onto. And the fact here that it says, and my phone keeps clicking off, that the highest percentage of those returning to the faith are from two-parent household, you can make the generalization that a two-parent household is more likely to have taught them a childhood faith. So the base is there. If they leave it, it's still there, and they have something that they know to come back to. The guy who founded this nonprofit Communio, which is designed to strengthen marriages, he says, most churches don't work to cultivate marriages. And this is him quoting now. 85% of all churches, through our commissioned research with the Barna Group, said they spend nothing in the area of marriage and relationship ministry. Just 28% of the churches have something in this area of marriage and relationship ministry. The DeGance brothers, that's Father Matt and his brother who founded Communio, grew up in a family of 6. They credit their parents with instilling a deep faith that was part of every life. Went to Mass every week, prayed the rosary every day, practiced the sacraments, confession. There it is. Then they quote this article. That sort of general faith cohesion is hanging by a thread today. And one of the big issues the Communio deals with in helping churches is how to fight back against cohabitation, which is becoming the norm today. Ooh, okay, some stats here. They've looked at the data. The data shows that couples who cohabitate have up to a 60 to 80% higher divorce rate. Now, the divorce rate is about 40%, okay? Taking into account second marriage, about 40%. 60 to 80. Radically higher. Okay. There it is. So just some good stuff here. I'm glad to see that it is being, in fact, pushed. All right, this is Dr. A. When I come back, I'll jump into your e-persons. Thanks for joining me.
We'll return after these messages.
Dr. Ray Guarendi dispensing a potent drug, formerly Dachazin. That was the brand name, and it was expensive. So after, I think, 5 years of the program, we went on the generic. Dachazin is good. It's good for your mental well-being. It cures Parentis Maximus Wimpus, cures that. Bratus Majoris cures that. But the generic is tricyclinol, and it's a lot cheaper. As a matter of fact, it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything at all to listen to this program, and you can get your dosage of tricyclinol just through the ear. Is how you get it. So you don't even really have to. It's not even set through your skin. All right, let me get to this. This is interesting. I'm struggling with a woman who is 59 and has befriended me. Now, who befriended who here? That's my question. Has befriended. So the question becomes, okay, there's a lot of reasons people befriend others. What might that befriending reason be? And we're going to find out here in a few lines. She is divorced and lived with her father, who is now deceased. Has not held a job most of her adult life. Okay, all right, I'm speculating ahead here. See where this is going to go. But this is a woman who has befriended our letter writer and who has not held a job. And maybe daddy has supported her a lot. 59, let's find out. She is very needy and demanding of constant attention. She wants to be on the phone. Now, I'm assuming she wants to be on the letter writer's phone or texting all hours of the day and night. One might raise the question of some type of mental disorder involved there. And mental disorder, again, is used in the term that it doesn't mean living your life irresponsibly or poorly or immaturely or making bad judgments, meaning there is something wrong in the operation of her brain. Right. She will not do what is necessary for daily living. Okay, now that is a major red flag, to use a cliche. She doesn't bathe, cook, take care of her car or home. Okay, one of the more obvious signs of a significant mental disorder is lack of personal care, personal hygiene. She wants me to drive her everywhere. She claims to have every ailment in the book and wants to be seen by the best specialist, but won't keep appointments. She likes to go when she feels, quote, up to it. I have tried. Okay, now we're seeing what interventions our writer has tried. I've tried putting limits on my availability, but then she claims she is in desperate need and cannot wait. It's take me, come do for me, and I need it now. I need money now. Ooh, there it is. I need money now. All right. The urgency escalated from toothache to UTI, urinary tract infection, to chest pain, panic attacks, and now mini strokes, and talking about medically assisted suicide. Everyone who knows her tells me she has always been this way, and they just don't respond to her, so she's moved on to me. Obviously. I've been trying to help her for, survey says, 10 years with no progress. Well, that's not surprising, given what you're describing. I don't want her to be dependent on me, or she will never change. There's a pretty good chance she's never going to change no matter what, even with or without dependence on you. I am 75 years old and don't want to become her caretaker, financier, and chauffeur. Help! The question is, what is driving you to feed into all this? Now, I suspect, here's a woman who has written me through one of the media outlets, either the radio show or the TV show. So obviously, she's a religious woman. And probably just as obviously, she feels it's your Christian duty to take care of those in need. Our Lord said that. But it comes down to what is need and what is using someone. Our Lord talked about taking care of those in need, but I think he was talking about significant need, like food or shelter or clothing. Here's a woman who clearly, for whatever her mental reasons, has never, ever functioned independently or responsibly. Who knows what's all involved in her wiring. But she found someone, back when our writer was 65, who said, oh, okay, well, I'll help you. I'm a Christian. I feel obligated. I'm no theologian, certainly not a priest. But my very strong opinion is this is not a Christian duty. This is not any kind of Christian obligation. As a matter of fact, it is hurting this woman. the evidence, 10 years of it, is remotely clear that, in fact, she's just simply taking advantage and using the goodwill of our letter writer. Our letter writer feels, what happens if I, like everybody else, just simply stop all contacts? And she can do that. She can do that with a nice little text simply saying, I've been helping you for 10 years. At this point, I'm tired, exhausted, and I will no longer be helping you in any way. And that's it. Don't answer any calls. Don't answer any texts. Nothing. Now, my gut tells me that this woman is going to show up on her doorstep. I'm sure of it. I got a big gut. So given that, I really don't. But given that, she's got to be prepared for that. But I think what's driving her is this kind of a misdirected Christian obligation that I have to do this. There is nothing in the Gospels that I can read or in our church's teaching that says you have to continuously meet the demands of someone who is clearly misusing the idea of charity to take advantage of somebody. I don't find it. It's not there. So I hope, dear person, that you hear this. And I did respond to her. What did I say? Hold on a second. I'll see if I can find it here. Come on back here. I said, I don't believe at all that our Lord would expect you to continue to serve this woman. I think every priest would tell you the same thing. I wrote her that. And I'm going to tell her that, in fact, she can hear this again if she misses it on the AveMariaRadio.net radio archives, where all of our programs are. Dr. Ray Guarendi, Catholic Media's elite member of its SWAT team. Stopping whining and tantrums. Nice to have you here on this ePerson Monday. Typically, I take this time to address the plethora, the cornucopia of ePersons that come in either through the TV show Living Right with Dr. Ray on EWTN television or the radio show here. So, let's see where we go. Hello, Dr. Ray. I have been estranged. Okay, Dr. Ray, come on. No, one of these estranged ones. Wait a minute, it's got a twist to it. I have been estranged from my dad for almost 7 years. There has been a plethora. Okay, well, all right. That's another word that means a lot. Of actions he has done from the time my parents split in 2002 to 2019, when I stopped trying to curate the relationship. How the word curate's being used there. I have 2 boys, 18 and 10, and I'm married. Okay, so he has done a whole bunch of things in the 17 years after the writer's parents split, and then he gave up. In the last 7 years, he hasn't had any contact with his dad. Recently, it came up in a conversation with my brother that I am at fault for my dad and my kids not having a relationship. Okay, well, first of all, my question would be, why does the brother think he's at fault? Does the brother have any idea of the history? Does the brother say, you're being intolerant of dad? Yeah, he's difficult, he's problematic, he's a pain in the bucket, but he's still your dad. All right? I got to know that. I don't know that. I have always answered any calls he has made to me, and even his messages. They are few and far between and can be counted on one hand since 2019. So, okay, what he's saying is whenever dad has reached out, he's responded. Okay. Now, is the brother saying, well, you don't reach out to him? That could be. I mean, I can't read dad's mind, but it's not uncommon that dad would be thinking, well, you know, he never contacts me. I always contact him. Yeah, but he responds to you. Yeah, but he doesn't try to reach out to me. My guess would be that's where it's at. I really don't like being seen as the reason as to why my kids don't have a relationship with him. Actually, it angers me. Because my dad did not put in any effort. It's probably true. I mean, okay, so given that, the dad didn't do a whole lot. All right, so the question becomes, take a hard look and say, have I done what I can do to have some kind of contact with my dad? My dad during those years was just a major league pain in the bucket. So does that justify me pretty much having no relationship with him, which would spill over to my kids? My grandmother, my dad's mother, was the same way. After my parents split, that's 2002, the only time I spoke to her was when he drove me to her house as a kid. So he had no relationship with his grandmother either. He didn't. Dr. Ray, I bring this up. Oh, boy. Because my wife and her father are estranged as well. I would want to know why. Again, my experience has been, if you're going to estrange, it's got to be big stuff. It can't be because they're obnoxious. It can't be because they try to be manipulative. It can't be because they're opinionated. It can't be because they say stupid things, hurtful things. That's generally not enough. Okay, Dr. Ray, but what if they do it consistently? Well, at some point you say, okay, my well-being or my kids' well-being is seriously threatened here. But my experience as a shrink is that we Christians have to have the heaviest bit of tolerance that anybody has. And as long as we may not like it, we may be upset by it, we may be hurt by it, but to simply say, get out of my life. It's easier when you're not there. I'm not going to argue that. Probably is easier if they're not there. Of course, difficult people. Why would it be easier if they're not around? But that's not the point. So he goes on. I really don't know how to phrase my question, Dr. Ray. I guess, how should I make amends to hopefully make a path for them to have a relationship? Well, I think that's pretty straightforward. Contact him. From what you've said, he's contacted you, and you've responded. Fair enough. Have you contacted him? Have you said, hey, Dad, I'm sorry for the last 7 years. I'm really rethinking this, Dad. I'm sorry. In other words, apologize for the estrangement, even if you think he was the one responsible for it. That's always huge in building a bridge of reconciliation in these estrangement situations. The other person thinks you're wrong. You don't think you're wrong. But if you apologize as though you are wrong, Dad, I'm sorry. I've not been a good son to you. Dad, I'm sorry. I want you to know my sons. What can I do, Dad? What can I do to make a better dad? This leaves aside the whole idea that he did all kinds of crappy stuff. It leaves aside the whole idea that I have 26 reasons not to have this guy in my life. Okay, but is he dangerous? Is he going to morally affect your kids? No, he could act like a jerk. Okay, well, a lot of people act like jerks. Unfortunately, if it's your parents, you got to give them a little more room to be jerky. So, I have kept my dad at a distance to avoid being hurt or disappointed. See, that touches upon what I just said earlier. Yeah, okay, but remember, you being hurt or disappointed, you have to cooperate. Dad can say things that have the potential to hurt or disappoint, or act in ways that have the potential to disappoint. But that's not enough to say, okay, Dad, get out of my life. We have much, much more power to not let people affect us to the point where we say, I got to get away from them. They're just too much for me to take. We have more ability than we have grace. We can tell to God, look, help me tolerate some of this ugly stuff. Again, don't mishear me. Don't write me an email that says, Dr. A, you're telling people to put up with very toxic. No, I'm not. I'm simply saying my experience has been much of the time that we write off people in our lives, it's because they're obnoxious and difficult and pains in the bucket. That's why. Not because they're any kind of moral threat to us. Not because they're any kind of physical threat. Yeah, but they're hurtful. Well, again, I'm going to decide how much you're going to hurt me by what you say. How do I balance the work that needs to be done in our relationship with letting him have a good time with his grandchildren? Well, part of it is you're there, Dad. I mean, if he comes around and wants to have some kind of connection with the grandkids, you're there. You don't have to let the 10-year-old go over his house unsupervised. You set the terms. But I think I would reach out to him and say, Dad, last 7 years, I'm sorry for that. I want you back in our lives. All I'm picturing is Tom Selleck, Magnum PI, running and jumping into some little two-seater, taking off after the guy that's probably got a 427 in his Charger. No, that would be a Chevy, wouldn't it? 383 in his Charger, taking off, and he's no way he's going to catch him in that little... But that's okay. This is television. Doesn't have to be real. It's Dr. Ray Guarendi. This is E-Person Monday. Let's get to some of these E-Persons. Hello, Dr. Ray. A couple of days ago, I sent an email about attending a child's, this is her child, same-sex ceremony. Let me start off by saying that I've been listening to you for over 13 years. I haven't been listening to me for over 13 years. And you were instrumental in my getting through my son's declaration of same-sex attraction. I've been a member of Encourage for at least 11 of those years. I've done a lot of prayer, work, and reading. I distinctly remember writing to you years ago because I heard Father Larry Richards say attending was a prudential judgment. This is something that I find people mishear a lot. That judgment involves marriages that are of someone raised Catholic and now marrying a spouse in a non-Catholic church, or perhaps even a civil ceremony. It's almost universal among the priests I know that say if it is a same-sex ceremony, you don't attend. You don't attend. Even now, I hear prominent priests say that if it would totally break the relationship, that one could decide to go. I think for the most part, they're referring to, as I said, those marriages between a man and a woman outside the Catholic Church where the son or the daughter is a Catholic by baptism. Now I just listened to a podcast with Father Schmitz. He says no. Yeah, that's pretty much, that is the church's teaching on this. All right, you cannot attend that kind of ceremony between two people saying we are same-sex attracted, man, man, woman, woman, and in fact, you're going to go. All right, let me see what we got here. Dr. Ray, yesterday you mentioned you have yet to meet an adult child who tells their parents it's okay if you miss my wedding. Now, that is true. Maybe I overspoke. I cannot recall one telling the parents it's okay. I wanted to tell you about my daughter. She, quote, married a woman in January. She has told my husband and I that she realizes this is hard for us and will respect our choice not to attend the wedding. She continues to talk with us weekly on the phone and is making her second visit here from another state with her new, quote, family. The other woman has 2 children from a previous marriage, which I'm wondering, was it a man-wife marriage? We are devout Catholics. Our children have been brought up Catholic. So this initially was next to impossible to deal with. After attending Encourage meetings monthly for the past 3 years, we have been able to maintain an authentic, loving relationship with her and her family. I have entrusted them to God because I can't change the situation. I can only love them. That is so very true. And it surprises me, but I'm ever so pleased that this woman said to her parents, "I respect your religious beliefs." Wow, that is not the norm. All this being said, I knew it. Here comes the curveball. They are having a picnic in August to celebrate their relationship, and the decision whether or not to attend is tough. We're praying about it. Any thoughts? Well, I think that would be a little more fuzzy. I think you might want to talk to a priest about that. But in essence, what kind of celebration of their relationship? Again, a restatement of their quote-unquote vows? Or is it just a picnic to say, yeah, we've been together now for 3 years? A situation like that, I think, again, you use good judgment on this regarding whether or not to go. Now, I know there are many of you listening to me saying, absolutely not, no way, can't go, no chance, no how. That's right. I respect, and I imagine most priests would respect your conscience on this, of course. But if, on the other hand, you say, they know perfectly well where we stand on all this. We did not attend their union ceremony. We didn't do that. They know. Our daughter especially has been raised Catholic for 20 years, so she knows exactly where we're all at with all this. But in this situation, we're going on a picnic, family picnic. And if they call it a celebration of their time together, that's what they call it. But for us, it's just something that's an event. Not a whole lot more, as I would see it, than them coming to our house, as they have in the past many times. So, just some thoughts on that. This is Dr. Ray.
All the advice, none of the bills. Come in. The doctor is in.
All right, let me go into the archives here. See what we got looking at me. Let's see that, and that. This was regarding the husband calling about his wife, expecting their 3rd child, prenatally diagnosed with Down syndrome. Dr. Ray, tell her to reach out to Be Not Afraid. I am a mother of 10. My 9th has Down syndrome. He brings us great joy. I promise, as scary as it is, he will bring joy to them too. This is the stone which the builder rejected. He will become the cornerstone of your family. He is wondrously made. Please let her know we're praying for her and to reach out to others who have children with Down syndrome. It is a lovely experience. Down syndrome right now is the main reason children are aborted. Well, okay, it's the main developmental disability reason that children are aborted. There are, as I understand it, certain countries in Europe who virtually have no children with Downs born. They are aborted. My son was born with a cleft lip and palate. prior to surgery, which probably is what, I don't know, probably, I have no idea, 60, 70, 80 years available. That was the number one reason why children were aborted. Yes, without surgery, a full cleft of the lip and palate is a serious facial malformation. It can, well, it obviously totally affects speech. It affects eating. It affects all manner of things. And my son has had 5 or 6 surgeries. Interestingly enough, we were scared. When he was born, he was our first child. We adopted. And when we found out because we were at the hospital. And the nurse, who was a friend of ours, was keeping us informed every step of the way with all kinds of excitement. All kinds of excitement. Oh, well, she's in labor now, and she's just waiting to place this child in your wife's arms, and on and on and on and on. And then she came in and said, "He's here." And I said, "He's here? After all that buildup? He's here?" Then she said, "The doctor will speak to you." Oh, man, is this something you want to tell first-time adoptive parents waiting while the child is being born? Because birth mom said, "I want adoptive mom to be the first one to hold him." That young girl, 17 years old, who placed her baby with us. We didn't know who she was. She didn't know who we were. He was born with a cleft lip and palate, complete cleft lip and palate. We had to learn how to feed him. We had to feed him through a syringe. Multiple surgeries. And that boy, he's not a boy anymore, he's a grown man, loves the Lord. Very deeply, he's into his Catholic faith. But we were scared. We were flat out scared. We didn't know exactly all it was going to entail. Tell you one of my stories I've told before on this. We were leaving the hospital after about a week of him being in the hospital and us learning how to take care of him. My wife had the carrier. We were on the elevator, had a little blanket over top of this little 7-day-old baby boy. Gentleman gets on our floor. He says, "Can I see your baby?" And my wife thought, he's expecting to see a perfectly formed little face. And as much as he may try to hide his surprise, perhaps shock, you'll see it. As the people who do interrogations for a living, they'll tell you it was a microtel flashed across his face. So Randy pulls back the little blanket. He does not miss a beat. I wouldn't even want to say a fraction of a second. It was less than a fraction of a second. He immediately said, "He's beautiful." Just like that. We got down to the first floor, the big lobby area, huge, monstrous lobby area. He goes ahead of us off the elevator. Follow him. Immediately behind him, we follow him. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? He's gone. He's not going to disappear in this huge room. This thing was a couple 100 feet by 50 feet. There's no way. Wasn't there. I'm not one to see God's overt hand in activities regarding things like this. I'm much more likely to say, well, this is stuff that happens in life. But that guy was, and my wife confirmed it, that guy was gone. Maybe, I hope, I pray that it was our Lord saying, "That's your son. And he's going to grow into a young man that you're going to be so pleased with who he becomes." Cleft lip and palate in the past was viewed as a sign of serious, severe mental disability. In other words, these children were generally put out of the family and the village. They were left to die. They were malformed. And because they couldn't talk, the implication was that they didn't have the brain power to talk. My son is a master's level mechanical engineer for the Department of Defense. He works on high-profile stuff. Extremely technologically advanced. Probably safe to say that if you're just going to measure IQs, he had the highest IQ of kids. Ironic, isn't it? That little boy, our first child born, with a disability that for most of human history was basically left to die. Another thing I'm grateful for in my life, the onset of modern surgery gave that little guy the kind of life he's now got with his wife and his 3 kids. All right, clock's ticking away. And I rambled on personally. But see, they told us that in grad school. You know, when you're in therapy, sometimes you got to do some self-revelation to make a little bit of an emotional connection between people. Appreciate you keeping me company. I'm Dr. Ray Grandy, the program Doctor is in. Join me on my Instagram, my website. Delighted to have you. Facebook. Thanks, Andrew Kruchek, for all you do over there. Walk with God. That walk is your most valuable by far. It's infinitely valuable.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.